to introduce Edmonton's Raging Grannies. I don't know what you're saying. Okay, ready?
Oh, we are a gaggle of grannies, urging you off of your fannies. We're raising the shout, Canadians speak out. We want no more war. Yes, we are a gaggle of grannies, urging you off of your fannies. When let's have the Yanks, we're sick of their pranks. We want no more war. Whether it's Bin Laden or that's Saddam Hussein, war is not the answer. From bombing, there's nothing to gain. If we want a world of security, what we need most assuredly is justice for all. Let's respond to this call and put an end to war. Yes, we are a gaggle of grannies, but we got enough of our fannies. We're speaking out now. We're raging and how we want no more war. We watched as those aircraft blew up in Manhattan, and now there's a war exploding on TV. In horror, we watched as our leaders played war games and wonder if this is how things have to be. They say it was right on the streets of Laredo to reach for your gun when the going got rough. We think that our leaders should learn from their grannies and find a solution without playing tough. We're angry with terrorists desperate for glory. We're scared of revenge that could start World War III. We don't want more innocent people to suffer. So we in the West can live rich and feel free. Whatever our views, we are in this together. The world is so small, there is no room to fight. Let's talk to each other and to all around us. And remember that two wrongs cannot make a right. This last song we're going to sing is called Bomb Iraq, and of course it's sung with tongue-in-cheek. It came originally from our gaggle in Seattle. So some of you have song sheets. If you want, please sing along with us. But remember, this is satire. If we cannot find Osama, bomb Iraq. And we need a little drama, bomb Iraq. If the corporate scandal's growing and the ties to them are showing, never mind, we'll soon be glowing, bomb Iraq. Even if we have no allies, bomb Iraq. From the sand dunes to the valleys, bomb Iraq. So to hell with the inspections, we have our own projections. Close your eyes and take directions, bomb Iraq. While the globe is slowly warming, bomb Iraq. The clouds of war are storming, bomb Iraq. The ozone hole is growing, showing, but some things are not worth knowing. Bomb Iraq. So here's one for dear old daddy, Bomb Iraq. From his favorite little laddie, Bomb Iraq. Saying no would look like treason. This is ideal hunting season. Even though we have no reason, Bomb Iraq.
So our first speaker here today is Jana Gera. She is a graduate of the U of A criminology program, hoping to go into law school possibly. Welcome, Jana.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for coming. Iraqi children continue to die daily from diseases caused by untreated water or lack of medicine. UNICEF also reports that about 1 million children are chronically malnourished. No other country in history has had to endure a man-made catastrophe such as this. The 12-year sanctions have also managed to destabilize what was once the most industrialized nation in the region. The sanctions have made illiteracy common in an area that once had a very educated population. Children are being starved, and yet they live in the most fertile land in the region, and drinkable water has been rendered unsafe for consumption. As you know, in 2001, Canada enacted anti-terrorism legislation. The Anti-Terrorism Act defines terrorism in part as an act in or outside Canada that is committed for political, religious, or ideological purposes to cause death. The definition also includes acts that disrupt essential services or endanger the health or safety of people. By this definition, the sanctions against Iraq constitute terrorism. According to this definition, Canada and other countries have endorsed, sponsored, and participated in the worst act of terrorism since World War II. Ladies and gentlemen, if this is not terrorism, then what would you call the murder of 1.5 million innocent people, more than half of whom are children? Genocide. The U.S. propaganda machine is powerful. We've been indoctrinated into believing that another war on Iraq is necessary. We're being told that Iraq is a threat to U.S. and to world peace. But we all know that Iraq is a target because of its rich oil resources. That's right. We all know that the only threat to world peace is American foreign policy. That's right. It is time that we as a nation express our condemnation towards the unfair assault on Iraq. Tell your parliamentary representative that the murderous 12-year running sanctions against Iraq are inhumane. Make it clear that the assault on Iraq is an assault against humanity, and we as Canadians will not take part in these acts of American terrorism. Thank you.
I want to call upon the journalists who are here to do their real job, which is to inform the public with the truth, not distortions. And don't give me this stuff tonight that there were 300 of us here. Now, let me break it down into 10 easy lessons for everybody here. And lest the journalists think I'm just going to try to beat up on them, I'm actually trying to do you a favor here. First of all, President Bush. How can you call the man a president when he didn't win the election? He's not the president-elect, the president-select. Term number 9, American democracy. you know that just before Christmas, over 500 Muslims and Jews in California were asked to report their status to their local authorities and were arrested? How many of you knew that? Tell me, how many of you knew that? We already know that they've arrested thousands of Muslims in the United States and they're detaining them without charge. This is fascism! Term number 8, it's the word Saddam. You might wonder, what are you talking about, Minister? Let me break it down. How come they don't call Jean Chrétien Jean, or George Bush George, or Tony Blair bleh? This is an obvious and ridiculous caricature. Do I happen to like this vicious, murderous, genocidal dictator who used chemical weapons against Kurds and Iranians? No. But you know he did that when he was a U.S. ally. They also like to say that our numbers don't compare to the rallies against the anti-Vietnam War demonstrations. Well, let me tell you something about how much we have grown democratically as North Americans. In the old days, we gathered after they had been slaughtering people for a long time. Now we gather before they are able to start. Term number 6 is axis of evil. Now, I mean, give me a break. Who writes this stuff? That's straight out of a Fantastic Four comic book. Dr. Doom and Dr. Octopus? Come on! You want an axis of evil? You draw a line from Washington to London. Term number 5 is no-fly zones. Any journalist who discusses no-fly zones and doesn't bother to point out that they are illegal is a liar. The no-fly zones have no justification in international law and are illegal zones of aerial occupation. They have bombed Iraq on a weekly basis for years. Term number 4 is regime change. Regime change, this term is as evil as a term like targeted killing. The real phrase is overthrowing a government. Term 3, weapons of mass destruction. The sanctions that have killed 625,000 Iraqi children under 5 and 1.5 million Iraqis. The sanctions are a weapon of mass destruction. And so is depleted uranium, which those murderers, use not only in Kuwait and Iraq, but they use it in Okinawa, Japan. Bosnia. They use it in Bosnia. They use it in Puerto Rico. And guess what? How much of that uranium was mined in Canada? Most of it. That massacre is on our hands, and only we can stop it. Term 2 is war on terrorism. This is easy to explain. How can the world's #1 terrorist fight a war on terrorism? And finally, term number 1, the world's worst propaganda term, as we prepare to slaughter hundreds of thousands of innocent people and use depleted uranium which will kill them in the years and decades and centuries to come. The worst propaganda term I know of, journalism. I beg you, reporters, even though you think that I just beat up on you, I beg you to be better than the worst excesses I just described. I beg you to repeat the truth about the 1/3 of Canadians who have declared in a recent poll that the United States is a threat to world peace. I'm going to end on this. We don't face, those of us who are non-native Canadians, we don't face police repression. We can do virtually anything, and I mean legal. Let's take this country back. Yeah, as far as regime change, we need a regime change. I want you to flood your MPs and senators' offices with calls, faxes, and emails, and people. I want you to do everything in your power to tell your friends, family, lodge members, church members, and everybody else to stop this criminal, evil, genocidal war. All power to the people.
Thank you, Malcolm. Our next speaker is Mike Desautels from the Canadian Labour Congress.
I am proud to be a part of a movement that brings together ecumenical organizations, labor organizations, feminist organizations, queer organizations, students' youth organizations, ethnic organizations for one common purpose. I am proud to be part of this movement. I'm proud to say that today in Fredericton, in Halifax, in Quebec City, in Montreal, in Ottawa, in Toronto, in Winnipeg, in Saskatoon, yesterday in Calgary, today in Vancouver, there are representatives of the Canadian Labour Congress and the Canadian Labour Movement saying in one unified voice, no blood for oil. I am not, and the labor movement is not anti-American. We are not against the 50 million or so Americans that don't have access to public health care. We're not against the hundreds of thousands of people that Minister Faust spoke about who are languishing in jail because of this archaic and draconian 3 strikes law. We're not against the family farmers in the United States who are trying to maintain to their traditional way of life. We're not, certainly not against the 100% of the Hispanic caucus in the Senate, the 89% of the Black caucus in the Senate, and the 100% of the Asian Pacific caucus in the House, in the Senate, who voted no to this war. And what we are is anti-moron. We are against a man who fails to accept the fact that for $8 billion a year you can feed the world's hungry, and is going to Congress to ask for $270 billion to fight this war. In closing, I just want to relay a little story to you. I was sharing a pint with a friend of mine the other day who has a 16-year-old daughter. And her 16-year-old daughter came to her shaking. She had just watched the news. And she's worried that there's going to be a war. She's scared that there's going to be a war. I think on this day, on this weekend, and Americans are celebrating Martin Luther King Day, it's important to remember his words. And he said, vanity asks, is it popular? Politics asks, will it work? Can I win? Morality and conscience asks, is it right? Thank you.
Peace! We want peace! We want peace! We want peace! We want peace!
Thank you. Our last speaker before we hear some more music is Zinnia Pritchard, who is also a member of the Edmonton Coalition Against War and Racism. Zinnia?
Can you hear me? Okay. I'll try to talk louder. I'm usually soft-spoken. My name is Zinnia, and I was born in Iraq, and I left when I was very young. My father was the harbor master of the port of Iraq. I come from a high middle-class society, and a very religious one. I had harbored hope one day to return to my homeland, but this has not been possible for the last 12 years. And beginning on September the 11th until today, I have been living with the dawning realization that I may no longer have a family to return to. And that terrifies me. It has not been an easy decision to speak to you today, because I, like the other Iraqi people, have wrestled with the fear of endangering those we love. And I have come to the conscious decision that I do not have a right to speak about them. I cannot. But I do have a right to speak to you about me as a relative. At the time of Desert Storm, I had slipped and hit my head and had a concussion. And all I could do every day was watch a single channel TV, which ran the news on Desert Storm 24 hours. At the time, I had a cousin in the Iraqi army fighting on the front line. I had family in the United Kingdom. I had religious family in the United States. I'm an associate member of the Order of Preachers. And I was currently ministering to the Canadian people. And I knew parents who were anxious about the deployment of their sons and daughters at the war zone. I could touch their anxiety. In my faith tradition, we speak about the body. At the time, every single member that I'm naming to you was a member of the same faith group fighting against one another. I can't express to you the deep mystical experience I had, because on that day, I actually experienced the body of Christ, and it really, really hurt me, because each member was hurting the other. For me, figuratively speaking, Desert Storm was not war, it was civil war. And finally today, as I prepared to come here, still afraid, I heard these words out of the Hebrew scriptures. And what I heard were the Iraqi people. I quote, "Though an army encamp against me, my heart does not fear. Though a war be waged against me, even then do I trust in you, my God. Do not abandon me to the will of my foes. Malicious and lying witnesses have risen against me. But I believe I shall enjoy your goodness. In the land of the living, I wait for you. I take courage. I wait for you." And so I feel that I can be here today to tell you something of my story. This is the hope that I have today. The hope that I see is you. The fact that each one of you, as different as we may be, are here today. The fact that all over the globe today, people of every nation and color and creed are gathering because we have woken up and we realize that this is a matter of conscience, that we need to stand up. You are my hope. Today is the day where I will say is a moral victory. We have made a moral victory today. Thank you.
Thank you.
We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved, just like a tree that's standing by the water. We shall not be moved, shall not be moved. We're working for peace together. We shall not be moved. We march for peace together. We shall not be moved, just like a tree that's standing by the water. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved, just like a tree that's standing by the water. We shall not be moved. We stand as one united. We shall not be moved. We stand as one united. We shall not be moved, just like a tree that's standing by the water. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved, just like a tree that's standing by the water.
my sword and shield I'm gonna lay down. My sword and shield I'm gonna lay down. My sword and shield I'm lay down. By the riverside I'm gonna lay down.
My sword and shield lay down. Down by the riverside. Down by the riverside. Down by the riverside. Lay down my sword and shield. Down by the riverside. I'm gonna study war no more.
I ain't gonna study
War no more.
I ain't gonna study
Study war no more. I'm gonna study war no more. Study war no more.
I ain't gonna study
Study war no more.
I ain't gonna study
Study war no more. I'm gonna study war no more.
This next song comes from South Africa. One, two, three, four.
We shall not give up the fight. We have only started. We have only started. We have only started. We shall not give up the fight. We have only started. We have only started. We have only started. Together we'll have victory. Hand holding hand. Hand holding hand. Hand holding hand. Together we'll have victory. Hand holding hand. Hand holding hand. Hand holding hand. Never ever put to fight. We're bound to win. We're bound to win. We are bound. Never ever put to fight. We're bound to win. We're bound to win. We are bound to win. We shall not give up the fight. We have only started. We have only started. We have only started. We shall not give up the fight. We have only started. We have only started. We have only started. We shall not give up the fight. We have only started. We have only started. We have only started. We shall not give up the fight. We have only started. We have only started. We have only started. We shall not give up the fight. We have only started. We have only started. We have only started. We shall not give up the fight. We have only started. We have only started. We have only started. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. We'll see you on February 15th, 1 p.m., Churchill Square.